everyone, welcome back. We have just finished our unit on the Pythagorean theorem. There is one question that is a little strange on your test, and I want to go through something similar to it. That way you can get that question correct on your test, and then I'll talk about what you guys can do afterwards. So let's look at this question to start with. It says a diagram of a pond in Paul's neighborhood is shown below. Paul notices that the shape of the pond is somewhat like a triangle. Now, if you're like me and you're looking at that picture, you're kind of like, that doesn't look like a triangle at all. But if I would kind of straighten out that pond on that one side, you could see that it is similar to a triangle. He claims that he can approximate the perimeter of the pond, keyword here is perimeter, without doing any measurement of the actual pond or on the diagram. What assumption would Paul need to make in order to justify his claim? All right, so if he wants to find the perimeter, we have to add up all the sides. So we need to take 80 plus 125 plus something to figure out the perimeter. Now, right now we have a missing side of a triangle. To be able to find the third side of a triangle, we can use the Pythagorean theorem. But before we can use the Pythagorean theorem, it only works for certain kinds of triangles. So, in the question, what assumption would Paul need to make is that this is a right triangle. Okay, so Paul needs to assume that the pond is a right triangle. Because if it's a right triangle, now we can use the Pythagorean theorem. So we're going to assume, we know it's not a right triangle, but if we assume it's a right triangle and we use the Pythagorean theorem, we should get close to the perimeter. Okay, so based upon the assumption in part A, now let's go ahead and find what it would be. So we can do, first off, I'm going to draw my line across my angle to determine the C, which that's the missing. The other two don't matter. We can mix and match. So let's set this up as 80 squared plus 125 squared equal to C squared. Now those are some kind of big numbers, so I'm going to pull out my calculator here. 80 squared, well I know 8 times 8 is 64, and then I would have 2 zeros. 125 squared, and this is the big one here, is 15,625. Now since there is a giant plus in between, let's add those together. Again, I'm going to utilize my calculator to go a little bit faster here. That is 22,025. And don't forget, our last step is always to square root to get rid of squaring. So if I square root that answer, it is approximately, I'm going to round. Does it say what to round it to? It does not. So I'm just going to do to the nearest tenth. It would be approximately 148.4. And we're dealing with yards. Now I'm going to check just to see if it makes sense. So if I put in approximately 148.4 yards, does it make sense? In other words, is C your biggest side? Because remember, your hypotenuse is always supposed to be your biggest side. In this case, everything checks out. However, I'm not done yet, because don't forget, we were trying to find perimeter. We just found a missing side. So now we have to go back up to our problem and fill in the third side, 148.4. So we have 148.4, add your 80, add your 125. Our approximate answer for the perimeter, I'm going to put perimeter, triangles, we have 353.4 yards. Again, this is just an approximation because that's not an exact triangle, but it can give us a close estimate. All right, that's it for that. I just want to go through one of those. Your test is tomorrow. The rest of the time today, we are working on a leveled activity. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. All right, see you guys soon. Bye.